This tutorial will be restructuring what we have created so far in order to improve the layout of our site and to fortify the concepts we have been discussing. We will quickly go over the concepts that we have looked at previously. Firstly, we created our development environment. We installed Atom and got our basic HTML markup laid out, including the head and the body. We linked up our CSS styling by connecting our styles.css file. We ran over the concept of nesting HTML elements within one another and also block and inline elements. We looked at some of the empty elements, including the link element and the image element, and we also use some CSS properties for positioning, such as text align to center our image, height, width. Our last tutorial we went over lists, including unordered list, ordered list, and description lists. And we also added some CSS styling to our unordered list in order to begin building the foundation for a horizontal Navbar. To start this tutorial, we're going to continue on with our styling of the Navbar. I'm going to change the content of each one of our list items and specify what pages we are going to include in our links. First will be home. Second will be HTML. And third will be CSS. I'll save. And now we've updated the content for each one of our list items, which also nest a anchor tag within each. We've already specified a class name for our unordered list, and the styles can be seen in our styles.css file. We have removed the bullet points that are displayed by default, and we've also removed the padding and added a little bit of margin for the element itself. What I'll do is I'll rename the class name of basic unordered list to menu container 2 underscores and list. We have to update the reference within our styles.css also. Also the reference down here, which is pointing towards our list items and also our list items and anchor tags. We have to update the names of those as well. I'll save this, refresh, and we've got the same results. I also want to nest our unordered list in an additional div. and I'll give this a class name of menu container and save. In our styles.css, I'll go just above menu container list and reference our new div. I did this so we could add the text align property and be able to center everything within the menu container, which will be the menu container list. I'll save. We'll see how this looks. Now we've got our menu items displayed in the center of our menu container div. I'm also going to set a background color just so we know what we are working with. We will want to push this div out a bit. In order to do that, I'm going to add some styling to each list item, which we have referenced down here. I'll change the padding to 50 pixels and also the font size to 40 pixels. This will serve our purposes for the moment. I know it doesn't look very good at all, but this is all we need to do in order to carry on with linking the pages that we will now create. Back in our main project file, previously we created a views folder which housed the page2.html file that we created. We'll be using index.html as our home page. So we've already created our home page. I'm going to right click and create a new file, and I'm going to call this HTML page .html. Again, in Atom, all I have to do is type HTML and then hit tab, and I'll get this starter HTML. The title of this page will be HTML page. And back within our index.html, I'm going to take our container div, hit Control-C, and within the body of our HTML page.html, just paste that in. And again, in index.html, I'm going to reference the newly created page within our href attribute of our anchor tag, which corresponds to the link that we want to use when we want to access the HTML page. In order to do that, we need to, with index.html in our main project directory, we need to navigate to views, and then we need to find the HTML page.html. So a full stop / the views folder, and then the HTML page.html. I'll save this, make sure our HTML page is saved as well. Back in our browser, I'll refresh, and then I'll click the HTML anchor tag. I'll change the heading in our HTML page to HTML page, save. I'll hit back, hit the link again, and now we've displayed the H1 element. Now you'll notice that there is no styling here, even though we're accessing the container class. This is because I haven't included the style sheet within this file. So I'll just copy and in the header paste it. Then we need to set the correct path in order to access style.css, which, as we are in views at the moment, we need to go back one directory and then look for the styles.css, which we can do by 2 full stops to indicate going back one directory and a /. Save, refresh, and now we've obtained all the styles from styles.css. In index.html, I want to update our home anchor tag to direct us to index.html, which for the purposes of this current file isn't required, but we will be using it in a moment. So I'll just reference the page itself and save this. I'm going to copy the entire menu container div, which includes our unordered list and our list items. Control C, and place it outside of our container div. Now, as we've taken this anchor tag from the index.html file and we've placed it here, we should get an error saying that we can't find the index.html file if we click home. That's because we're not navigating to the correct file path, which requires us to go back one directory, then look for the index.html file. Again, in HTML page, we'll hit refresh and then home, and then we've navigated back to our index.html file. With that out of the way, we can start moving some of our previously created markup into our new page. I want to move everything that is focused more around HTML rather than CSS, which will be the other two forms of lists. So I will take our ordered list and our description list. Both of those I'll highlight, Control C. I'm going to delete those and then paste them into our HTML page.html and save. Also, I'm going to save the index.html. Refresh, and as you can see, those lists have been deleted from our home page, but within HTML we have them displayed here. I'll also quickly add a H2 element, which stands for heading 2. I'll label this as ordered list. another h2 element, description list. Now, as these divs and these paragraphs have more to do with CSS styling rather than HTML itself, I'm going to place them in our CSS page, which we will create now. Again, in views, I'm going to right click, create a new file, and call this CSS page.html. And I'm just going to take everything from the HTML page, hit Control A, Control C, and then in our newly created file, I'll just paste that. And then it's just a matter of updating the title. It's still the same destination to find the style sheet. The H1 tag. We will fix this anchor tag in a moment. And we can delete that content that we will want to be displaying in our HTML page. I'll save this. We'll first go back to index.html and add the link in order to find this page, which is views/css page.html. I'll save this back in our browser, refresh, and I'll see if this link works, which it does. We need to go to our HTML page, find the CSS Anchor tag, and as the CSS page is located in the same folder as the HTML page, we just specify the same directory, // and then the page we wish to link to. We also need to update this anchor tag as it's pointing to the wrong destination because we originally created it in index.html. So that's just a matter of deleting the views folder from the location and saving this. Also in CSS pages, we'll do that and then add the location of the CSS page. And save. Back in our browser, refresh. We're currently on the home page. We can go to the HTML page. And from the HTML page, we can go to the CSS page. From the CSS, we can go to the HTML. And from the CSS, we can go home. So all those links look to be working correctly. I'll take this content from our index.html page, which include the div elements, the divs with the class name of div elements, the spans, the paragraphs, and the emphasis tags. Highlight all of those, copy, delete, and then under the menu container, I'll paste that in. Save index.html, refresh, and now our index.html page is looking much better, less cluttered. We still have that link that we can get rid of, which is located in our index.html page as this anchor tag. Also, quickly, I'm going to change our H1 element to display home. Also, in our styles.css file, I'm going to take the class name of heading 1, which is located here, and I'm going to type text align center. And just for the purposes of demonstration, I haven't saved this yet. You'll notice that all the H1 tags are displaying to the left in all of our pages. But as I've assigned text align center to that heading 1, I'll save, refresh, and now they are all displayed in the center. And in CSS page.html, I'll just quickly add a couple of H2 tags. And I'll say block divs, inline spans, inline paragraphs, and block emphasis. In our CSS page, I'll refresh, makes it look slightly better.